Hey guys, hope everyone's having a good day and is ready for another video on the series we like to call Underrated Throwers. Now today we got Jordan Roach, the now throws coach at UNLV college. Uh, Former, I think maybe still competing. I think discus thrower. He has a PR of like 63.50. Used to throw for Virginia and was assistant coach under Martin Merrick, who in his own right was a 67-meter discus thrower from Croatia. And he helped coach Claudio, who is another 67-meter guy that used to be at Virginia. And Jordan Roach in his own right was at least a one-time All American, I think three-time All American in his own right, and a really good NCAA athlete that used to throw for Virginia. And the reason why I think he's underrated, one, is because, compared to a lot of the other throwers I think are underrated, he probably doesn't really throw like the furthest. 63 meters is still like very elite and is crazy far. But the reason I think he's underrated is I believe he probably has some of the most aesthetic and beautiful technique, and he's just a great technical model. Everything he does is so simple. Everything's done with a purpose. His releases are always phenomenal. He's super consistent. I just love his technique. I could watch him throw all day. All right, so let's take a look. This is him throwing like 59 meters or something. This is not his PR. Yeah, 59.54. Let's watch that again. And as you can see, just very fluid, very, very nice, very nice. And I'll link, his height, weight, and personal best, and his notable accomplishments in the video description. He made the Olympic trials in 2021 for the Tokyo trials. Got 8th place, and has just been throwing pro. You might have seen him if you follow JY Throws. They were teammates and stuff, So, yeah, very, very, very good throw. So let's break this down. All right, so winds. Let me just get his foot wind. So it switches angles. I don't know why. So his angle is here. Very nice wind. All right, here we go. Sits on the left very well. So you see right here. So he sits a little bit. All right. Yeah, there we go. Sits on this left foot, gets weight on it, turns it. So he likes to keep this left arm inside the left hip, left knee, which is fine. Gerd Cantor was famous for doing that as well. I think that's a very good thing if your athlete has a problem with pulling the left side out the back, pulling that left arm. But I personally coach the left arm getting ahead of the left knee because I think it's easier to turn out the back doing that. But yeah, like it's not a bad thing. It gets ahead of him here. So he does it just delayed a little bit. But he gets a lot of weight, gets a lot of separation. So his left foot is pointed that way. By the time his right gets off, actually it's pointed more like, it's pointed, let me clear that line. It's pointed more this way. So it gets amazing stretch and separation here. I always preach, and I got this from Festina Styson, who I did a video on too, who was Gerd Cantor and Daniel Stahl's coach, and Simone Peterson. I think he's coached the most 70-meter throwers ever. He always preaches, you want to make like a reverse V, basically. So like here. And you want to keep these knees as far apart as possible. I like to think of it like trying to keep like a medicine ball, like a Buso ball, in between your knees. And that's how wide you should always keep them out the back. So, you notice how he goes. He turns his left and the right goes out this way and then goes around. All right, so that's very nice. Keeps very good stretch. So you see this more predominantly in women because women are just in general more flexible than men. But if you're a guy and you can do this, that's also really good, as long as you can handle the stress and you're strong enough to actually get out of this position. If you're not very strong, I would highly recommend just picking up the right foot a little faster out the back, just because it's really hard to handle this kind of stress. Um, but the minimum I would say is you want this left foot to at least get out to 90 degrees before this right foot picks up. That's like the bare minimum. And I don't care how weak or strong you are, you never want this right knee, the sweep knee, to turn into the left foot. You always want it to go out and around. All right. The second you get the right knee into the left knee, like you turn into the left knee, you lose all your tension and all your separation, and just becomes very hard to turn out the back, and you're gonna fall, and it's gonna create all sorts of problems. Now he doesn't do that, which is why he throws really far. So let's move on from the back. So the way I always look at it is, yeah, I mean, like, I don't know, that's pretty good. He could, I would like his left, if I was coaching him, his left arm to get a little more out this way, so his armpit is more in line with his knee, because that's a thing I look for to know if you get over the left out the back. Another way is, let me draw that line. Whatever. So wherever his left hip is, if his right foot goes into the left hip. Wait, sorry, that didn't make any sense. Sorry. Wherever this line is, that right foot should be on that line. So you notice how he over-rotates just a little bit. Now, again, this isn't his PR throw or anything. It's still a very good throw. I mean, like 59 meters is still a pretty big throw. Not many people can throw 59 meters. But this isn't his best throw, So I was going to do his 61-meter throw that he has that I found video of, but it's at a weird angle, and I didn't like that. I didn't like the angle it was filmed at, so I didn't want to analyze it. So, but you get the general picture here. So, he over-rotates just a little bit, but, that's two things if you're looking at film of yourself. Just if this armpit's over the left knee, that's generally an indication that you're over your left. And if you're still not sure, if this left foot, if wherever this left hip is, the right foot should land into the middle, in line with that left foot, where that left hip was. All right, but gets a really nice wide sweep, gets a really nice angle here. Super long arms, keeps the discus super far behind, and gets off the foot really nicely. So yeah, he kind of got off just a little bit late. You want to think about sprinting or getting off this left foot right as soon as this right foot. Well, it's a little more in shot put. It's going to happen a lot quicker. So as soon as this right foot passes this left foot out the back, or your sweep passes your left side, you got to get off that left foot. And discus, since the ring is bigger and, everything is just a little bit more delayed because, the discus is so far away from you compared to shot put. So the timing's different in discus than in shot put. So, it's going to happen a little later, but he still kind of over-rotates just a little bit. I really like these wide knees. I like to think of this position, this kind of same as this. So I think of it like you have two sweeps in the throws. You have this sweep, and then the left leg sweep. The left leg sweeps around the right. So, you always hear coaches, and I made a video about this. You always hear coaches say squeeze the knees into the middle. I personally don't like that, and if you see really far throwers, they generally don't do that anymore. The only time you really see that is if they have a very narrow sweep. So like someone like John Powell or like Luis Delis, they had very narrow sweeps, so they squeeze the knees. And you generally don't hear that much in discus. It's more of a shot put cue, but shot put this applies as well. I personally like the wide knees because I think it creates a stretch reflex and a stretch shortening cycle. Um, and it helps you stay balanced over your right, because if he was here and he squeezed the knees, his left foot would land really early, so he would have a very small base in the front. So I generally don't teach that unless people have problems. Uh, like actually getting the left foot down. But as long as you actually sprint out the back, the left foot should get down, and you don't really have to think about it, because your body naturally wants to move like this. Now, obviously, I'm not saying move like Adam Nelson and have like the left thing like way over here and be like ooh, like that. That's just him, and it's cool, but I would not recommend throwing it like that unless you're Adam Nelson. Um, but in general, like this spacing is fine. This spacing is fine. The other times you don't see people like this is if they're super tall, like 6'9" people, like like Alekna, like Virgilius Alekna, like some other people like 6'9" plus people, or like they generally aren't like that because they just land sooner in the ring because they're just super freaking tall. So but that's, I'm getting a little too into the minutia of this. So let's concentrate on Jordan Roach. So he gets here really nice, really nice. So because he does that, because he has the wide knees, he's able to stay on the right foot and the right side forever. So the left comes down right there. Really nice T position. So really nice. I always coach for men the T position, which is just this. So you don't want the 2K too far back unless you can handle that stress. Because if you're really weak and you try and throw it like a girl, basically like a woman, and like the discus is like back here, when the left foot touches, you're probably gonna shank it into this cage. Just because like it just takes forever for the discus to come around. And if you do not have the mobility, and I say mobility and not flexibility, because flexibility is just getting into the position. Mobility is having the strength to do something with the flexibility. So mobility encompasses strength and flexibility. All right, so yeah, that's a difference. So even though you might be really flexible, because for me personally, I'm really flexible, but mobility and flexibility are two different things. So like my freshman year of college and stuff, I tried to throw the 2K disc like a 1.6K. And I would always pull off it, and it would always go this way and always go into the cage and stuff, because like the discus would be like all the way back here, but like I was not strong enough to actually throw it like that, so I had to change how I threw it. And that's just one of the things you kind of get used to when you get throw the 2K. When you go from high school to the 2K, the timing's different. You can't be as stretchy. For women, it's completely different, but I'm not going to even talk about that right now. That's a totally separate video about the differences between men and women throwing. If you guys would like to see that video, let me know in the comments. But yeah, in general, the discus, this T position, you normally see a lot of men discus throwers have this position, this T position. All right, so T right there. Okay, and that's generally what you want. Okay, and that's all you need, and you can throw far from this. All right, so he's here, and then he just stays grounded, has a flat left foot, so he comes around, and he's transferring. Oops. Stop going back. He's transferring forward, and boom. So if you notice, so you can always tell if you hit a really solid block. So the left. Oops. Sorry. The left foot is here. All right. I did not mean to clear that line. Hold up. There. All right. So when he reverses, so he over rotates a little bit on the reverse. Again, because he over rotated out the back, so that's why. And it's just like a little tiny bit. So he still got a very nice solid block. But you can tell. You can tell based on like this is what, if you're looking at video of yourself to know if you hit a solid block. So if your left foot is there, the right foot has to replace it. at exactly where it is, and that means that you got all that energy through the discus. So he over rotated, so that means that some energy was still left in his body. Now over rotation is way better than under rotation usually at the finish. So his left foot landed here. All right. If his right foot reversed and went like over here somewhere, he under rotated, which means he probably jumped in the air, and the discus would probably go that way. All right. So in general, for most far throws for a right-handed thrower, they'll either go right down the middle or down here, down this sector. For discus, shot put's a little different, but for discus, you normally see here and here. All right. You rarely see people throw far from here, unless they like sprint that way. But that's again getting into the minutia of things. But yeah. So let's get here. Turns, transfers weight over this block, has a really nice solid block, stays on this left foot. So even though he's up in the air, the discus is out of his hand by now. Has a bent right knee and just kind of slides forward. So it's not a jump. So you want to think, so that when you reverse, you want to think this right foot will, this right side and this right foot will just slide forward. So you notice how he's not really in the air, like he is, but he's not like jumping in the air like Brian Oldfield. He just kind of slides forward. If you go to like Ryan Krauser's YouTube videos, I think he has a whole video on it. I forget if it's on his Instagram or his YouTube. I think it's on his YouTube channel. And he has a video explaining the reverse, and that's how he explains it, just sliding forward and stuff. So I would go check that out because, the same principles apply for shot put and discus in the reverse. The timing's a little different because, the reverse happens and the angle is different, and the reverse happens like a lot slower because in discus compared to shot put, just because, the timing is different, like I mentioned, because the discus is further away from you, so it just takes longer to finish the disc compared to the shot put, which was on your neck. But yeah, so overall, like if I had any thrower that threw like this, I'd be freaking happy as hell. So, I mean, I'm nitpicking. Again, this isn't like his PR throw or anything. It's still a very solid throw. And I would comment on the flight of the discus, but the quality's not the greatest. So, I guess you can kind of see it. So, when you see really far throwers, and this is a tip, especially if it's really windy, is to release the discus a little more at this angle. So as it goes, it will flatten out. It will flatten out. If you release it flat at the beginning, it's going to tend to curve like that. Let me get a different arrow. So if you release it flat, if there's wind, it's going to curve down like that. So it's going to decrease in distance. So if you release it and it's at that angle, then it will flatten out and, kind of like his, all right? So I don't know if there's wind. It doesn't look like there's wind because, the cage isn't blowing or anything. But, yeah, in general, you normally see really good discus throwers do that. All right, so that's just a top tip for you guys if you're faced with really windy conditions. But, yeah, overall, I can watch that video all day. He just gets all of that disc, just boom. Oh, it's beautiful. But yeah, hope you guys learned something. Hope you guys enjoyed. Again, I'll link his personal best, height, weight, if I can find them, and notable accomplishments in the video description. And I'll see you all next time. Thanks for watching.